Hi, welcome to the Pursuit of Truth. Now, I don't know whether I'm going to be able to describe well enough my thoughts on this one, but I shall try my best. Let's start with the easy one first. I was watching Eric Dubay's YouTube channel. I believe it's his channel. It's got his name on it. And he put a video, it's his voice. They put a video showing, well, sort of a spoof of the Japanese, I think it's Japanese satellite, as if it got pictures of people walking upside down in Australia. And it was a clever video because it makes you think about that idea. And the problem is when I'm trying to explain this, I can feel my mind sort of going against the idea, because for 40 odd years I've believed of the world as a globe, and now trying to get across, explain the concept of relativity and up and down and all that kind of stuff. I mean, if you think of, it's easy when it's a flat surface, because we in our own experience can see that. We can see that if you have a flat surface, I guess I was going to say it's easy to know what's up and down, but technically if you're in space, that's not necessarily true. If there is such thing as space, if there's no space and it's just an object, then it's easy to see where up and down is. But when you have a sphere and it's in space and it's on an axis and there's loads of things around it, how do we know what up and down is? Now, obviously, from where I'm standing, we would say the sky is up, the ground is down. Obviously, that's the same in Australia. See, this is where I see my old mind kicking in, thinking, okay, so yeah, the sphere works, because if I go to Australia, the sky will still be up, the ground will still be down. And it's gravity that's meant to be pulling us towards the core, or some kind of magnetism. I don't know exactly how that's supposed to work, but that's the concept, and I can see that. But of course, if you had to visualize it, if there was a way a camera could show, like this Eric Dubay video of people standing upside down, and the thing is just because we class Australia as down under, but technically, based on the notion of how space is and how the globe and all that, there is really no up or down. It's just something we've ascribed ourselves. I mean, we know the sky is up and the ground is down. We can all agree on that. But coming from space, once you're outside the Earth, how do you know what's up and down? Because just because you see like the North Pole and the South Pole, well, we've named them that. They could have easily been the other way around. You could be upside down when you fly out, and the Earth is the other way around, or it's left and right that's up and down, because it's a big space. Do you see what I'm trying to say? So it was a great video, but I can understand why people would have difficulty. They would explain it away, because that's like, I just explain it away myself in a way by saying that the sky's up, the ground is down. So it doesn't matter where you go, even if you're going around a globe, as long as the sky is up and the ground is down. But then you've got to think about it. Because when you see these the video of Eric Dubay's, and you see like people standing, as if they should be falling towards the sky, you've got to imagine well, actually around everywhere, you could say that's the way it is. It's just, yeah, it's quite a one to get your head around. Yeah, I'm still trying to think of a better way of explaining what I'm trying to say. But go watch the video on Eric Dubay's YouTube channel. It's his latest video. I can't remember what the title of it is, but you'll see it. It'll make you think, and it'll make your brain hurt trying to think about it, especially because we've been so used to this idea of living on a globe that we've sort of taken it for granted. We joke about the down under, but we never really think about the idea that, well, that means that relative to where we are, if we're standing one way, they should be standing the complete opposite way. And for them to us, the same. They're standing one way, we're standing the other way. Yet both the sky is at the same position, the ground is at the same position. And gravity is working the opposite way around, in the sense that from the top it's just pushing down, from the bottom it's pushing up, as it were. Let me move on. So the second thing I was going to talk about, last night I was thinking, and I know I've mentioned a bit of this in the other podcasts I've done, I was just thinking about, and this is maybe a bit metaphysical in the sense that as babies we don't know anything, and we're taught everything we know. Everything I know has been taught to me by other people. I may have learned other things along the way, but my process to be able to do that, I was taught. I've been taught language. I've been taught how to think, how to research, and all those kind of things. So I was thinking about the idea of like artificial intelligence, robots and things like that. We often demonize that as like these people, that they're artificial, that they're being programmed to do things, to be like us. And it's sort of, then I started to think about, wait a minute, well, aren't we exactly the same in that sense? Are we like an empty organic matter that is taught how to do all these things? Like if you left us, like I said, there's an example I often give in a forest with no animals, no nothing, how would we be? Yeah, we would eat, we would, climb around, maybe walk, but we might not communicate, eventually. But would we eventually, have the capacity to become the we that we are now? Well, I guess that would have to be the case, because then how did we become how we are now? Well, unless someone else taught us, of course, which is where you get into religion, God, or aliens. Yeah. I don't know, it was just that idea of I was just thinking about the similarities between, at the moment the problem with artificial intelligent robots is they're given a certain amount of instructions and they respond based on things that have been given, but soon they will be able to make up their own sentences, and they'll be taught language, and they'll be taught, philosophy and all those types of things, and then they will be able to, it'll be a sentence that they form themselves, not as, well, maybe they can already do that by picking words, by guessing. And then I'm thinking about, well, isn't this exactly what a baby is? We're doing the same thing. We're programming the baby. We're teaching its binary code, its language, its English or wherever you are. We're teaching it structures. We're teaching it how to walk. We're teaching it how to do things, how to obey, how to all the things. So is that what we are? And then I was thinking about us as, the things that make up me, that I'm not that special. There may be like, in this world of 7 billion people, there could be like 100,000 people exactly like me. Is that, I was just thinking about like the individuality aspect of things, because we are these babies who know nothing. But I suppose it depends whether you think that babies do actually have a character, have certain things, and you can see, yes, there are traits, but I don't know how much of that is developed through watching us and TV and all those other things and other people, how it's developed. It's easy just to say, yeah, they're born with that through their DNA, but whether that is the case, you'd have to keep a child in isolation to be able to do that, and I don't think anyone's ever done that, surely. So, I was just thinking about the idea that there's loads of people like ourselves. So is there anything really unique about us in the sense that, I'm not explaining this well, I can sort of see what I'm trying to say. I think it's sort of similar to that other podcast where I'm thinking about if I've been taught all these things and become all these things, these are all things that are external that have made me like a robot. You know, it's mechanical parts, as it were. That's it, and the bits we program into it, we programmed into it to make it, to become. But what is it really? Do you know what I'm trying to say? The thing is, it's because we can see the creator, us, but we can't see ours, as it were, if there is one. If we make a robot, yeah, and we give it a brain and all that kind of stuff, and it's empty, and then we fill it up with this operating system. Now that operating system, we filled it out, we've made that. You know, you could make loads of different robots and fill it up with different things. This one's going to like science fiction, this one's going to like drama, this one's going to like comedy, this one's going to like flat earth, this one's going to be a glober. You know, you could, but that's all, they're all the same. But the actual thing that it really was, it is what is that? That's what I'm trying to say. The same with us. We're all born babies. You got 100 babies. They're all born with nothing, and because we live in a system and the environment we live in, all those babies are taught. That's how we do things, isn't it? We teach each other those things that we know and of the past, and then we shape like clay those babies. We fill their heads full of all this information and all this stuff that they become. Well, then what were they originally? What would they become without all that? It was just making me think about that kind of thing, that what are we really? Are we just, you know, just like these robots that are being programmed, that we're just living a life, you know, based on the system that we're within. I'm not explaining this very well, but that's the best way I think I can do it. I hope you've got the gist of what I'm struggling with or what I'm trying to say. I don't really know what I'm trying to say, whether I'm trying to say that we're not unique in a sense, or we think of ourselves more than we are. You know, that we believe ourselves to be ourselves, but are ourselves. Because all the things around us are already there. Do you know what I mean? All the things that make up me are all things I've learned or been taught. You know, like you could say, well, okay, you're English woman, and that's a story that was made up. This land isn't really England, it was called that, and the history of it. All right, so you're a flat earther. Well, no, that's something I found out on the internet. Well, I suppose some of the things are, you know, actual parts of reality. Or you like science fiction. Why do I like science fiction? There's loads of people who like science fiction, but it's not actually really part of me, but it is part of me, is what I like. But what actually am I? Or am I just like a mind that is that what we're really human beings? We see human beings in the mirror, we see ourselves and our thoughts, but are we just really like a sponge that's soaking all this stuff and becoming these things, that learns and adapts? I suppose I'm really looking at about what really is the actual part of us. I think it's just because I'm thinking that we're all like sponges, soaking all this stuff up and becoming these functioning beings. As a baby, we're unable to do things, and when we're taught how to walk, we're taught how to speak, to communicate, to work, to do things. Much like when we do with artificial intelligence and androids and robots. I mean, I suppose the other thing I was thinking about was also animals and stuff. Do you think is it possible to, if you had an animal and you put it through, and you treated it like a baby, a human baby, could you make it talk? Could you make it think? Could you make it work the same way as us? I suppose I'm sure people have already tried to do that, and I guess it hasn't happened. Otherwise, we would see these things. But there are certain animals that do, like there are certain animals that can be taught to do certain things. But is it because we believe that they can't do these things? Is there something special within us that enables only us to be able to communicate and adapt in that way that they can't do? They don't have the vocal cords, or they don't have the same kind of brain as us, or are their brains exactly the same as us, and if we taught them the same way, they could be taught to be like us? I wonder if anyone's actually ever tried to do that. I mean, you do get gorillas and monkeys and things where they do sort of, play instruments or communicate in a way, or some of them I think could do sign language. So do they not have the vocal cord that would enable them to speak? Or is it because we haven't bothered to treat them like us? Imagine if that was the case. If all this time we treated animals like, like say a baby in a forest that we thought, oh, we're just left there and it can't speak. What if all these animals, they could be taught exactly like us, and they would speak back to us and tell us how they feel and how they think, and they'd be exactly the same as us, like Dr. Dolittle or something. Sounds like a science fiction story, doesn't it? I better write that one down. God, that would be quite horrifying. Imagine, it'd be like Animal Farm, and these animals would be talking back to you, telling you all the horrific things that you did because you believed that they weren't as conscious as man. Anyway, that's where my thought is lying at the moment. I hope you've enjoyed this dalliance into my mind, not my mind's workings, thinkings, whatever it is. Anyway, take care, take it easy. God bless and peace.